Hello everyone, welcome to my tutorial. I'm going to be doing, as you can see, a fun little winter bouquet, and I'm going to be featuring some blue spruce evergreen with it, with its pine cones, and then the feature of it is a wild violet, which is way far off where we live to be blooming yet, but it is the flower of the month, so I thought that would be fun that we would incorporate a design with it, and then some of its leaves, and then a little bit of extra foliage. So this is a drawing that I did earlier, and I used colored pencils to fill it in, but I wanted to show you the ink part, the drawing and the ink of it. So I worked on a different one. I have this one, I'll put this away for now. The other one is this. Hopefully you can see it. It's mostly complete, but it's enough that I feel like you can get the gist of what we're doing, and I made it a little bit bigger so hopefully you can see it easier. So I've already outlined this in micron, and what I've done was to take a graphite and draw on the back. So I used a Prismacolor Ebony Pencil, jet black, and it's 14420 if you're interested, and did that kind of thing in the back, like we did when we were in grade school. And I transferred the drawing, and I traced it again onto this sheet of paper, which we're going to actually do our tutorial on. And the reason I did that is because I don't have to draw it fresh, completely again. It made it much faster and easier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using a number 5 or 0.05, I think it is, micron. I love microns, especially if you're going to use them with something else. If you want to use them with watercolor, they're going to work because they're alcohol based, and so yeah, they're perfect for what we're going to be doing. So let's get going. I'm going to trace all the sketch and show you, and just kind of talk you through how I came up with the design so you can recreate it, make something of your own as well. And then we're going to fill in with details afterwards. So, okay, here we go. What I'm going to do, first of all, with the African violet, it's kind of got like these little funny ears at the top, or it looks almost like heart-shaped, 2 petals together, but they are separate. So I'm going to go ahead and outline this first shape with the African violet. It's just pretty much making this semicircle, and then I did put a stem right there, so I'm going to stop, do my second one, and then this petal is going to overlap here, and then they have these stems that really pop up, they stick up, and I'm going to put that over here, and it just kind of disappears behind the petal. So I'm going to finish the petal right there. We're almost half done with this flower. Amazing. Then I'm going to do like this little semicircle here, and then I'm going to make it kind of pop up right there, like it's a cookie and there's a bite taken out of it, okay? And then I'm going to put 3 lower leaves or petals. So here's the middle one, that's big, and then I'm just going to give it that little shape, a little point maybe at the end, just a little bit. And then here's a petal here and here. And don't worry about it being precise. It's really not about that. It's a drawing. This isn't botanical drawing. This is just, something fun that you can put in your journal or in a card or whatever. So it's just meant to, like I said, get you drawing. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do another one. And what I like to do, and you've probably heard this before, but I like to put things in clusters of at least 3, always an odd number, and then if you want to do more than 3, you can, obviously, but I think in this case I have 5, including the little buds of the wild violets. So it just looks better. And also, just so you know, FYI, that the leaves of an African violet are much bigger than the flower usually. But I'm not doing that in this case because I don't want the leaves to be the star of the show. So just for fun and just my interpretation, I'm making the leaves smaller, but they're pretty close to what they're supposed to look like. All right, so I'm just finishing up this next petal and making these shapes up. I don't know if you've ever seen wild violets. I don't know if you have them where you live We have them, and they come, I don't know, March, April maybe? But they're one of the first things that bloom, at least that are wild, and they grow in the lawns, people's lawns. And I absolutely love them. I like to pick little bouquets, and I actually have the vase I bought a long time ago that I love. I put them in this vase, and I don't know. I actually even had a blog that was called Walking on Violets because I just think it's just so amazing that there are flowers that you can walk on. Not that I'm trying to, but okay, for the little bud shape, what we're doing is I just kind of made a little cap. It almost looks like a broken egg, half of a broken eggshell. And then just gonna make this like a light bulb, I don't know. It almost looks like an elongated acorn or something. And then I'm going to just put a line down here and then a line over here just to give an idea of a bud shape. And then I have one over here as well. And I'll go ahead and fill that out with the stem. Remember, your drawing, your sketch that you have here is just meant to be a guideline for you, so you go ahead and change it, and especially if there's something that you don't care for or you don't like. Okay, next I'm going to do the leaf shape. And it's really kind of like, reminds me of a lily pad kind of. And it's a little pointed, like a heart. It feels like this is the perfect flower for February because of the heart shapes with everything. It's kind of cute. I don't know if it was planned that way, but it's kind of fun. Okay, and then just take a little leaf shape going there. We're going to add some decorations or embellish it a little bit more when we're done. And I made a bigger one, which is probably a little closer to their actual size. Put that center leaf fade, and the leaves kind of curl in on the inside and wrap under a little bit, and then put a stem on there, and I'm going to just kind of show it. I'm not doing the best with my drawing, a little sloppy, sorry, but that's okay. I have a lot of grace for myself because I don't have to be perfect. Okay, next I'm going to do this little bit of greenery coming up. I don't know what it is exactly. I'm just kind of making it up. I'm sure there's a leaf shape out there like this, or a branch. It almost feels like a fern maybe, but you can put whatever you want in here, obviously, if you like another shape better. I just thought this reminds me of kind of like the greenery that they'll use at a florist sometimes, but you definitely can find this in nature. It does feel like a fern. And then again, I'm going to move this base over, and so we're going to do, these aren't sticks, these are actually going to be our evergreen. Here we go. Just gonna put these in like this because it's just easier to put them in like that before I would draw all the extra stuff that goes with it. And then I'm gonna have a nice long one here. And then sometimes it has opposing branches right there, and then the center branch is higher. So we're gonna do that. And then let's get this one in. This leaf shape. Again, just put whatever it is that you like, but if you want to follow the tutorial, then I kind of picked this. I'm not too worried about the shapes right there because I'm going to be covering this area with actual pine needles, so I'm going to wait and fill this in. Actually, I might put on this side, and then I'm going to put this pine cone in. I have a cluster of 3 pine cones. They don't show up really on a tree this way. They're not clustered together, but for the composition, I'm going to do that. And then let's just get this. I've got a stem over here to do, and then we're almost done. And then this shape right here, or this little branch. You know, this is like, reminds me of a coloring page, so you can kind of create your own coloring pages. You do so much with these kind of arrangements, these little bouquets. Like I was saying earlier, these would make a great card. You could put them in your bulletin journal if you have that. Bujo, I just started one, so I'll show you the one that I did later for that. Okay, that's the basic leaf shapes and petal flower shapes that are in. So I'm going to switch over now to my 0.3 micron. Again, these are great pens. You can find them at Michael's or your craft store. Online, of course, you can find them. But I'm going to just add some details, which kind of will take it to the next place, the next level. So what I'm going to do is inside of the flowers, they have like these little hairs. Hopefully you can see that. They're just really, really small. Let's bring this up. Hopefully you can see just really, really fine lines that are inside of the flower. As a matter of fact, let me do a close-up. Okay, hopefully you can see that. It's a little bit clear to be able to tell what it is. And then I'm going to draw some lines that are going out. Just some, see how I'm just doing really quick strokes? And that defines the flower a little bit more. And then I'm going to do these little lines, and it's going to go with the shape of the petal because that's going to make it kind of fun too, and it's going to help define its shape and make it feel a little bit more realistic, although we are definitely not going for hyperrealism here. This is a pen and ink drawing. I don't even know if that's, I guess that would be like for a fountain pen or something, but anyway, it's an ink drawing, but you can do so much more with it. Okay, and then we're just going to finish these over here, do the same thing. I'm going to make a little bit of a thicker line and then just put some of these lines coming out from it. I feel like I've drawn so many of these. So every time you draw these flowers, I feel like you're going to get a repertoire of flowers that's going to be in your, I don't know, collection. So when you want to just make a flower of any kind, you will have this little selection to choose from. So all right, and then add some more of those. I'm just going to finish up this last flower, and then you can also put a few from the bottom. I kind of like doing that. Yeah, kind of just again shows the shape of it. I'm using these real quick strokes with the micron pen. Yeah, and then I like to even add a few little dots. Take the tip of my micron. I don't know if that's really something in the flower, but I kind of like how it looks. So you can decide if you want to do that or not. Just kind of put them in a random spot. Okay, so that's basically the flower. And then for the leaf, all we're going to do is just add a few other shapes, maybe going like this, a few lines that are defining it, and then even a few little dots like that. It just kind of adds a little bit more interest, a little more, I don't know if texture is the right word, but yeah, I like that. And then also you can, well, we'll do this in a second. I want to do the pine needles because I need to do that. I don't want to smudge my drawing here. So what I'm going to do is start at the top and flick out and just do 3 to begin with. And then just seriously flick all the way down because pine needles are pretty uniform. How they go, how they are arranged. They can look a little bad if they've been in the snow or messed up, but on the tree they look pretty good. So that's pretty much it for that. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to show you how I fill that out. Because, I mean, this is okay, but it doesn't look super great. So I'm going to add a few more details. What I'm going to do is add this little, I like to add these little knobs at the intersections. I don't know if you may not see them when I'm all done, but I kind of like that. And then I just go, starting from the middle line, that center line, I just go at like, I do another row and then kind of alternating, and you almost want to have it straight up, not quite. So like the needles are coming up straight up at you. And this is going to add, as you can see, it's just making it look way fuller and more realistic overall. Okay, so there's that. Oh, I gotta do down here. And if it doesn't look that full or something doesn't look right, just fill it in a little bit more. That's totally fine, but that looks nice. And yeah, I think we get the gist of it. So I want to show you what I'm going to do inside of these. I'm going to just add a little bit of a line going in the middle of these. And then here, this little bud, I can just add a few lines. I'm not going to do anything too crazy. Maybe just add a few more, oh, some dots. You know, you kind of decide. That just looks kind of fun to me. And then, yeah, I'm going to do this over here. And then I'm going to go and show you the actual pine cone. Now the pine cone on this kind of tree is different than the typical ones I think we normally see that are more open and spread open. This one is much more clustered and tight. So I did a little sample with this, but I'm going to try to recreate it here. And I am using the number 3 micron still. But what you want to do is I just kind of make like these little shingle shapes. And I want to just make sure that they are going opposite of one another, just like a shingle on a roof would do. And try to make them fairly uniform. I mean, I'm not, again, this isn't botanical, so I'm not too concerned about, you know, making this perfect. And I'm kind of rushing through this, but you can do it as well as you want, or as detailed or as neat, I guess, as you want. You certainly don't have to rush through it. And so basically that's what we're kind of doing. And I did make the shape of it on the side, but I'd like to break up the edges of the pine cone, which I'll show you kind of how I do that. Okay, so that's basically how I just add a little bit of detail to the top. Now to break up these edges a little bit, what I like to do is just put a few lines that are going off of that side so it doesn't feel like it's so, you know, smooth. We don't want it, I mean, it is smooth, but a real pine cone will, you know, you'll see, I don't know how to say it. You'll see a little bit of definition on the edges of it. So it's up to you if you want to do that. I kind of like to do it. And I'm going to finish the rest of this, and then I will show you what we're going to do next. Okay, I am done with the details of everything, and I just want to show you real quickly what I'm going to do with the pine cones. So what I want to do is darken the edges a little bit. I'm just kind of going in with lines, and then I want this pretty dark right here because this pine cone that's behind these other two is definitely going to be darker. So I'm just kind of randomly making some shapes, shadows, and then I'm just doing kind of hatching, which you're just doing lines that are going, let me show you. I'm just kind of taking lines. Hatching is just taking lines and going like this. I'm doing really close together so it kind of fills in. I guess I should have made that bigger. I don't know if you can see that, but that's what I'm doing here. And then I'm going in, and it's also helping to define the shape, that it's a circle kind of shape, or oblong, excuse me, and you know that it's round basically. So I'm just doing a little shading in on these, dark underneath this petal because it's behind the leaf here as well, and then just some random dark spots in the pine cone, because the pine cones, you know, they have all these shadows and lights and darks, and that's what kind of makes it all look three-dimensional. And then I'm really working on the sides because I don't, like I said, I really want to break up that shape of it being so a perfect oblong. All right. Okay, and anyway, that's pretty much it. I'm going to zoom back out so you can see it, and then I'll show you my other drawings as well. Okay, here is the drawing, pretty much finished. So what you could do with this now is you could use colored pencils, and again, that's what I did here. I used colored pencils, and I just cheap ones. I didn't even use the Prismacolors, and I think it turned out pretty well, but of course you could even go crazier with that. But you can see the blue spruce and the pine cones, and here obviously I made the pine cones bigger. But I want to show you another one I did for my Bujo, my bullet journal, not bulletin journal. I'm sorry, that sounds so dumb. Bullet journal. And let me show you what I did for this. I'm just starting these, so I'm excited, but my hand lettering is not good, so excuse it. I am going to master it if it's the last thing I do, or at least do better at it. But there's the one I did for my bullet journal. I think you can see it right there. And I used the Tombow markers for these. And they did pretty well. There was a little bit of bleeding on the other side, but not too much. Or ghosting, not bleeding. And yeah, that did pretty well. And then I just did some other spray of them here. And then I just include them really for the rest of my journal. So anyway, that'll be another video. Hopefully I will learn how. Oh, and I made a little Dutch door. Isn't that fun? I saw that on Shada Campbell, and I loved it. I'm like so sold on the Dutch door. So that is it. That's my diagram. I did not color it in today, but how about maybe a watercolor, or we'll do something fun with it another time, or make something, simplify it into a card. But there you go. I hope you enjoyed it. Hey, if you like this video, please make sure you hit like and subscribe, and I'd love to continue to do more. I'm really excited to do art and to learn along the way, and then have you come and learn with me. So hope you will join me, and we'll see you next time. And in the meantime, just remember, you're amazing and creative. See you next time. Bye.